Now you're good.
Now we're good. All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. You are tuning in to Casual Convo Friday with my co-host, Nate Flood, out
Hello.
of Georgia. I am in Arizona, and we have our good friend Todd Westra joining us back. Todd, we brought you back for 2.0.
It's nice to be brought back. It's nice to be brought back. This is such a powerful show.
Powerful show. So Todd Westra is the CEO of Moku. He's gone through some pivots. If you know Todd, follow Todd on several platforms. I'm excited to learn more about what you're doing now, but today we're talking about small business challenges and growth. And we're talking specifically about the people, processes, and tools. And I'm really pumped for this. I'm excited. I think this can really help a lot of people. Before we get started, real quick announcement. If you are tuning in live, this is on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. Make sure to drop us a comment, ask a question. We're all here for you for the next half hour, and we're excited to get this going. So Nate, first question, please.
Sure thing. So Todd, one of the biggest things we want to talk about is how small businesses can help themselves and stuff like that. What are the biggest problems that you see when you're working with a small business in terms of them struggling to grow? I know that's a big thing. A lot of people, in my experience, they have this misconception of, oh, I'm growing, or I want to grow because I want to make more sales, but that's not necessarily the case. It's not really the full spectrum of growth going on. So why don't you tell us the biggest problems people face?
Sales is usually not the biggest problem in growth. Usually the biggest problem in growth is totally internal, and it usually has something to do with their lack of processes. And what I did last year during COVID kind of wakened me up a little bit as a small business owner. During my pivot last year, I really focused on building a podcast at first. And in building out the podcast, it was kind of fun. In 10 weeks, I interviewed over 200 CEOs and founders all over America. And the topic was simple: leadership in business. But I'd ask them all, after I asked them who they were and what they did, I'd ask them what their favorite thing about growth was and what their biggest challenge was in trying to grow their business. And those two questions were really interesting. And by the end of the year, I actually did over 250 full interviews with these CEOs and founders. And this was so cool because in almost every case, and you can go back and watch all my episodes on LinkedIn, but in almost every case, their biggest challenge was people, processes, or tools, and usually a combination of all three. And so in almost every case, I'm willing to bet those of you listening who own a small to mid-sized company, my guess is that you either have the right people in the wrong places, the wrong people in the places you need them to have the right person, or you just have the wrong people altogether. And hiring for an SMB founder is not an easy thing. And so more often than not, people have the wrong people in the right places, but sometimes people don't even know what right places they need. And so they go from this growth phase of, hey, I just started a business with me and my buddies. And then all of a sudden they're at this phase where it's like, hey, we got like 15 people. This is really awesome. We all hired our buddies. And then it gets to the point to where they're in a growth phase. And guess what? Those buddies that can wear lots of hats, they don't need those anymore. They need to be very specific. You need a really good sales director. You need someone who really does know what they're doing on social media. And you need someone that really does know how to build your product better so that it's more marketable. You know what I mean? It's no longer the buddy club. So that's what I see as the biggest challenge facing SMBs is developing through that growth phase and aligning themselves with the right people, processes, and tools to actually grow.
I can agree with that. I mean, that's the biggest thing is back when I used to do strictly marketing, right? When I first started doing things for small businesses, the biggest problem everybody had was, they were paying us a monthly retainer. We were trying to move forward and go with them, but the thing was they didn't have any infrastructure. So they couldn't get you graphics, they couldn't get you content, they couldn't get you their sales prices. It was just always waiting. And then you get to the end of the month and they're like, why haven't we haven't we done anything? We're like, well, we're supposed to do this. So then, I started adding content creation and stuff. I started bringing in contractors to do all that. But it still was it was always a matter of they just lacked that structure, right? They weren't ready for the growth. They just wanted more sales at the end of the day.
Preach,
And it
Nate.
was always just very difficult to deal with. And so that's why I flipped it and we started building people's infrastructure out, because it's like there's no use in trying to move them forward if they don't have things ready. So let's help them with the first building block, and then we'll go from there, kind of thing.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
And amen. Tisha, what do you think?
I'm going to say that's the ethical thing to do. That is, we had a client, I worked for this ad agency, and the client, just like you were saying, Nate, would never give us anything. We were on a retainer with them, and we're supposed to be doing PR. We're supposed to be doing all this communications. And it was like pulling teeth trying to get stuff from them, that I finally just asked. I don't think my boss was too happy, but I was like, why do you keep paying us if you don't have anything ready? And they're like, we should probably quit then. And they stopped the retainer. I slept better at night.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know about my boss. He was probably like, you jerk. Like, that was money. I'm the owner. But I'm like, why do that? And I think that we just owe that to our client too.
Right.
If you're not going to get off the pot, then let us help you. Let us create the structure so we can then move forward. If you
and that's exactly
I don't know
the
how
whole
you sleep at night. I don't know how you sleep at night if you just keep taking people's money and being like, it's your fault. It's your fault.
No, that's exactly my point, Tisha, is there's so many businesses out there that have a great idea. They've got some cool people they're doing it with. But when it comes to scaling, you got to have a process. And most of the time that means you got to have some tools that'll help you accommodate that. And then once you have the process and the tools, plugging people in is the easiest part. It should be, as long as you define those roles that you need. And too often people are like, oh yeah, I'm the CEO, founder, president. They got like 10 titles, right? And that's like, that's okay for a second. But if you're really trying to grow and scale something, you need to have defined roles. You need to have defined needs. Like, what are you going to need to build out this department? And let's build it out. For example, even within my organization, so as I started building up my podcast, I'll back up one step, I found that, immediately I needed to have someone help me. Like I in the first week of doing outreach for my podcast, I booked 22 interviews in the first week. And I was like, that wasn't very hard. This is awesome. Granted, this is a free service. I'm writing free content for people, right? So it's like, yeah, of course it's easy. But I mean, what I went from though was I was doing all the editing. I was doing all the post-production. I was like doing all the outreach. I was about to pull my hair out because I couldn't hardly see my wife and kids. And so I thought, okay, I got to automate some stuff. So I incorporated a tool to help me with my prospecting. That was step number one. And then I built a process where I discovered exactly what I needed to do the follow-up with the prospecting. And then I developed a system to do the actual production. And boom, boom, boom. As I started moving along, I've built the process. I reached out to some former employees of mine in the Philippines. And I said, hey guys, here's what I'm doing. I got a few people jump on board really fast. And we built a machine that scaled that podcast to where I literally never know who I'm even talking to till about 5 minutes before, maybe 10 minutes before the podcast. And it's awesome. And then I don't even touch it again until I need to approve the content, like the show notes. You know what I mean? And so I literally did 250 podcast episodes, but really all I did was show up. After about the 30th episode, I would just show up, do the interview, and then review it when it's time to post it. So that's how you scale a business though.
I like that idea. I just show up. Everything else magically happens. Like
it magically happens. But it magically happens if you have a process. You know
true.
what I mean?
It's so true.
That's my point, Tisha, is like building a podcast is hard if you don't know the process. But once you figure it out, build a system and then plug people in. It's like, it's magic, right? And so that's what I do for small to mid-sized companies. I go in, we talk about their what their end goal is. You know, our whole mission statement is literally to understand our client's vision so that we can provide them the people, processes, or tools they need to satisfy that vision. And that is our mission statement. We repeat this in every meeting we have. Every staff meeting, we talk about that and our core values, which are, you know, totally designed around building up the value of helping our customers see the vision and executing it. People, process, tools.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, that's stuff we see all the time. I mean, obviously, like I said, we build people's infrastructure up, and when you start building those processes out, you know, it's hard. Everybody hates change. I get it. Like, you know, I've gone through it with thousands of people at this point.
Right.
But like when we build those processes and then stuff just falls into place and you're no longer having the hustle and bustle, you know, when you get out of that, oh man, every time I have a meeting, I got to stress out trying to get everything together. When you can just hop on the SharePoint, pull it all down on any device you want to, you know, it's easy. You know, it doesn't matter if somebody asks you an impromptu question. You can pull that. Let me pull that info down for you and pull it up. It's that types of stuff that you can do. That's growth to me. I mean, honestly, that's growth to me, because if you can do that, the sales will come because it's easy. You know, you're not trying to. You're
more relaxed. You can
exactly.
be who you are. And most salespeople, I don't know about you guys, but like I'm in heavy sales mode this winter, right? I've been trying to hustle. And in my efforts to hustle, I recognized immediately, you know what I need? I need a sales assistant. Mm-hmm. So how do I design the best sales assistant? Well, I don't know about you, but I analyze my workflow. What was my workflow in doing my sales system? Well, I get on a Zoom call most of the time, not many in-person things. So what disadvantages does it have and what advantages does it have? Well, the advantage is I can record the call. So I thought, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm really good at presenting and talking to people. I'm not always awesome at the follow-up and the follow-through. And so I'm like, all right, here's what I need to do. So I built a system of where I have my client meeting. We shoot the bull. We do the normal sales stuff. We get friendly and have a good conversation. We talk about their needs, and then we talk about what we can do. And then I do a last minute summary at the end of it. And then it literally just like I have someone now who listens to every Zoom call I record. She takes my action items that I repeat the last 10 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. And she literally just like executes on my what I committed to do during those last 10 minutes. Now I'm an excellent salesman.
Oh yeah.
You know what though, Todd? But it's what are you good at and what can you delegate? And that's what I think a lot of small business owners are like, I have to do it all. No, You really don't. Like figure out what you're good at. So we have a couple of comments and questions coming in. Gary Rogers on Facebook, he's been joining us here, and he says, process takes a methodical, neat, organized person, company. Many business owners are not those things.
Right.
Very true. Very true.
Right.
Yeah.
A little delay on that popping up. Sorry, guys.
Nate, you are slacking. This is 2.0 with Todd.
I clicked for it. There was just a little bit of lag. Everybody calm down.
I mean, Gary's exactly right, though. Like, it doesn't, like, most of us, even those of us that are weak at certain things, you recognize your weakness, but most of us recognize what would be the ideal scenario. Mm-hmm. So I literally walk my clients every time I bring someone online. I actually have a course that I built for onboarding, and I go through some certain practices with people of how do you effectively outsource? How do you effectively use a virtual assistant, right? And it is a science. Like there is a process to it. It's not just I'm going to hire a VA and solve all my problems. Like nobody does that. And so what the biggest misnomer I see in virtual assistant hiring right now is people say, oh, I'm going to hire a VA. It's going to be awesome because they're going to do all this stuff for me. Right. Well, first of all, most people don't know what stuff you need to get done. So what I teach people to do is I say, look, like, what is your end goal here? And can you do this with one person? For one person, it's like, hey, I've got all this busy work. I love someone just to clean my inbox, to organize my drive, do all these things for me. I call that a project dump. They project dump a couple of like heavy things that to them are a big burden. And then they have no idea what to do next. And so then they're like, hey, VA, you're like the best. You've totally solved this problem, this pain point for me. Can you do video editing too? Can you rebuild my website? And
like, I think I'm guilty. I just asked mine to do video editing today. I was like, video editing?
Tisha, you are exactly why I built this business. Like, I'm not even kidding. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's nothing to be embarrassed about because everyone has this concept that like hiring a VA is going to solve everything. And let me tell you something. VAs are people too. Like, they don't have all the skill sets that we all need and wish we had, right? And so what I did in designing this new product that I did is really around having a dedicated assistant, not a virtual assistant. And what I mean by that is a virtual assistant gives the ominous like cloud of power that they can do all things, right? A dedicated assistant means this. You've got someone who's going to get to know Tisha. And this someone that gets to know Tisha is going to understand her business, understand like what she's trying to accomplish. They're going to really get to know what your big goals are. And after understanding that, this week, Tisha may be like, hey, you know what? I need someone that can help me edit all my posts and give me 2-minute, 90-second snippets so I can plug in all my social media. Okay, so you need a video editor. Yeah, that's what I need. Well, then next week she's like, oh, this is great. You've totally taken so much burden off me. Now I need you to do some prospecting for me. Well, do you really want a trained video editor doing prospecting? You don't.
Not in most cases.
You don't. So what I've done is I've created a system where your dedicated assistant is your dedicated assistant. You get to know them. You get to appreciate them. They get to know you. They flip around to all your tasks, and we have a team. We have video editors. We have graphics people. We have people that can do web dev. We have people that do advanced integrations in web development. We can do like all sorts of crap on the back end. And all you need is one dedicated assistant who gets to know you, right? And so you buy a block of, as low as 25 hours a month, as much as 40 hours a week. And you literally are buying access to an entire team who understands what Tisha needs and what Nate needs. And now all of a sudden you've got that video editor when you need them. You've got someone to clean your inbox when you need them. You've got someone to do your social media management for you. Like, it's the best thing in the world. and I know this from experience because I do it too. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I created a product that I needed, and I know Tisha needs, and I know Nate needs. Oops, pointing the wrong. These guys need it, and everybody kind of needs this tool, but they don't know how to set it up.
No, absolutely.
Yes. Real quick, we have Matthew Mendenhall, who's been on with us too, and he said this is such great info. So thank you, Matthew, for tuning in. But he asked, what platforms would you recommend for hiring help for small tasks? And I think you kind of answered that already, Todd. But if you have something else you'd like to add for Matthew,
yeah, Matthew, literally, like it's here's the old style of hiring virtual help. It's I need a website. I'm going to Fiverr. I'm going to go hire someone to do my website. That's great. You get to know the person, and then you're like, man, this person's awesome. I wonder if they can make some outbound calls for me. And again, it's the same thing I just talked about with Tisha. Like,
sorry, I'm just laughing. I didn't do that. I didn't ask my web developer to do that.
You just can't do it. And these people are super. Would you rather have someone super skilled in one thing that you can trust to do that one thing? I mean, it's Matthew, like, my guess is that once you get those simple projects done, you'll have something else for someone else to do. If only you knew the right person that could do this, right? And so that's where our company is. That's why we call the website With Moku. Like you can do it with Moku. Like all you need is Moku. And to you, Tisha, Moku might mean I need someone to do all my posts, my Convo and my Camry crap and get it all ready for production and go. Like, but then next week you need something else. So with Moku, you can do it with Moku. For one person, it's a noun. For one person, it's a verb. We actually have an entire tool set that we've incorporated so we can build online communities. We can manage email workflows. We can manage SMS campaigns. It's a full CRM platform. And all of that is part of our Moku package. When you buy one of our dedicated assistant packages, we include the tools. So you're not like, oh, wait, do I need ClickFunnels and Kajabi and all this other stuff? No, you don't. We have the tools for you.
Look at Nate. He's even shaking his head because he's like, no, all of it.
I've done consultations where I've eliminated so much in cost of software where people, here's the thing, they start searching for the answer to their problem. Like, hey, I want to build a funnel or I want to do this, whatever the case may be. And then we all been in advertising and stuff. You know how it is. As soon as you make that search, you start getting hit with all the advertising. And so now you've got all these companies telling you exactly what you want to hear because it's what you were searching for, right? Like, oh man, this will take care of my problem. The issue with that is most people don't do their research into all these applications and services to where they find out, well, a lot of these have overlap. And so they'll start paying for MailChimp for email marketing. Oh, but by the way, Kajabi will do email marketing. You got that tool already. You don't need both. Things like that nature. And then before you know it, they're racking up hundreds, thousands of dollars of. I've literally done a 4-hour consultation and eliminated $10,000 a month in cost for a company before, and it was all because they were paying for applications.
Ridiculous. That's what I'm telling you, man. It's like you get this small business with 5 people thinking they need Salesforce, right? And then and it's like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, talk about a burden of every month. I mean, you might as well you could hire a dedicated assistant team for the same price as your Salesforce for 5 people.
Yes.
Like, wake up, guys. Like, you get the whole package. And so that's what I love Daphne's comment in the comments here, where she's like, I am that whole team. But Daphne, how long did it take you to get there? Like, and are you really the best at all these things, or are you just pretty good at a lot of things? You know what I mean? Like, I've tried to assemble a team where I literally have really skilled people who are doing video edits. I have really skilled people doing course creation. I really, like the whole thing is like, man, this is cool. And so for me, like I did a challenge 2 weeks ago where I was presenting in front of a group of business owners, and they said, hey, we need like a sub $100 something that you can sell. And I'm like, a sub $100 something I could sell. All right. So I thought I'm going to create a course on how to effectively use a VA. And so I did an outline. I put some slides together. I filmed it all in about 4 hours, and then had it done, posted with a community tagged to the entire course. It literally took me personally about 4 hours. And I have a full course that I can sell for $90 that teaches you in a very clear step-by-step pattern exactly how to maximize usage with a virtual assistant. And you can buy that on my website at withmoku.com. But you also get that free when you sign up for our virtual team services.
Awesome. So I've got a question for both of you to see what you tell people. I know I've got something that I tell people all the time, but when it comes to growing and you're trying to get entrepreneurs to get off of that, trying to do everything themselves and spend the money, but they're like, well, I can't afford it. That's why I'm doing it myself, right? That's always like the big thing. And I know I always tell them, I'm like, well, look, just try to get one task off your plate. If that's all you can afford, if you can just afford somebody to schedule meetings, if you can pay them for 1 hour's worth of work a week kind of thing, and it saves you that 1 hour, go for it. Start there. And then as you start to save money, you can start to do more. That's what I tell people about marketing. Like, before you start marketing, build your infrastructure up. Let's cut some of these costs out. Oh, and then before you know it, now you got an extra $1,000 for advertising, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that is generally how the steps go for me. But what is y'all's experience in terms of when you're dealing with people that they're strapped for cash because they're just starting out, or they haven't run themselves, in a very optimized way to begin with, and so they're just, they're giving you that pushback because of the funding, for instance?
Well, from my experience, most of the time, people don't really understand their numbers.
Yes.
And that's a big problem. If you're feeling like you can't hire someone to help you with menial tasks that a lot of, and I say menial because I've been there, I've done it, like lots of menial tasks. You should only be doing menial tasks to figure out the most efficient way to do those menial tasks so you can hire someone to do it. Because if you can't figure out the system and the most efficient way to do that thing, like, for example, LinkedIn outreach. I mean, I'll probably get shut down for this, but like, if you can't think of a way to have someone help you do outreach, I mean, are you ever saying that something different when you're doing an outreach message to somebody? I mean, most of us don't. So come up with your own language, come up with your own process, hire someone to do it. Because Tisha, you and I both know last year, you and I were probably spending 6-7 hours a day on LinkedIn just trying to have conversations with people and do outreach. And did it pay off? Yeah, in some ways, but could you have been more efficient with your time if you paid someone to just do that part for you while you can go out and actually be prospecting and having client meetings?
So I think that's the challenge I have, is that there are people that are on LinkedIn, like you said, nonstop. They're posting, they're engaging, they're all of that. And what I've come to realize is, am I right? Am I prospecting with even the right people? Yeah. Or am I just having conversations for fun?
Right.
And so we got into this with COVID of, let's have a virtual latte. And it's like, my schedule's booked, but was it producing anything? No. Well, it turned out to be a great relationship, but again, like, you have to be very smart about where you're spending your time, because I know me, I don't want to be working 24 hours a day. Nobody should. So, this whole thing, you brought up this good point, Nate, of what happens when people say that money is the object, or, it's just, I don't want to spend the money, but it's like, but if you could be passing that on, like you said, these menial tasks to other people and doing what you really love that produces the income, or meeting the clients or building the business, do it. And I know I've had to get out of my own way many times, because I'm like, I could be the janitor, I could be the marketing director, I could be all of these people. And what do? I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I'm angry, and I didn't get anything accomplished because I wasn't working on income producing activities.
Okay. So that's the thing, Tisha, right there. Income producing activities. If you're really too tight to hire someone to help you with menial tasks, take a step back and say, is this menial task driving me to revenue? If I can't hire someone to do it, should I be doing it? Like, I mean, if it's not a revenue generating activity and you don't have the revenue to spend, you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be doing it to begin with. So why hire someone to do it? You got a good point. Don't hire someone to do it, because you shouldn't be doing it either. It's one of those things. It's like, if you don't recognize the things that you're doing, if it's revenue producing or not, should you be doing it if you're that tight on cash? It might be. Is it a bad thing to be socially all over the place on LinkedIn? No, it's not a bad thing. But if you need revenue and it's not generating revenue, then stop it, cut it down, trim it down to an hour a day. Make sure you're doing revenue generating activities and hire someone to help you produce more revenue. I rarely hire people that aren't producing revenue.
Yes. That's a big thing. Like, if you're not making money off what somebody's doing, they're just a debit at the end of the day. I've told employees that, like, look, if you're not doing something that we're making money off of, you're a debit. And I don't like debits. There was a reason we just now got an office space. It's been 7 years. We just now got one. The only reason is because we can have people come in here and we can film video content for them and take pictures and do all that stuff for them. And we can make money off that. That's literally the only reason we have it, because we needed it to make our own stuff for moving forward. but I still didn't like it because I can't put a dollar sign to that until I got to the point of I'm going to bring other people in here and do the same thing.
I hear you.
Exactly how things work. The more debits you create for yourself, the more that cash flow just starts. That's a lot of stuff. That's what I tell people about. I literally have gone to a 5-person company, did an audit for them, and looked through their software costs, just their software,
It's
right?
insane.
And have found an easy $1,000 in about 30 minutes. Like as soon as they give me that list, I'm like, yeah, that can go, that can go, that can go, that can go, that can go. Why?
Yep.
Because you're paying for Microsoft 365 and all those apps are in there already for $20, kind of thing. Or even if they had G Suite, it's the same thing. Those two have similar suites, but like people will pay for little things like Calendly and project managers and stuff like that. And I'm like, when you start looking at those apps, like there's simpler, easier versions because they're not taking full advantage of these big software suites anyways. You know what I'm saying?
Most of them are designed for enterprise.
Yeah, exactly. When somebody's paying this subscription to Asana, for instance, there's nothing wrong with Asana. It's great. But for a 5-person team, kind of overkill, to be quite honest. You can get by with a free project manager that's just card based. Because the reality of it is if you're organized enough to get by with using that, you're ahead of the game right there. Because most people they get Asana and they're just like they don't even know how to use it. They're just wasting money on it, stuff like that. And they spend more time trying to figure it out than they actually do getting use out of it. You know what I mean? That's always a big part for me to like just immediately just free up cash for people right off the bat. It's just like simplify, like you said, those business processes.
Yep. The process, it's people, process, and tools, Nate. If you literally listen to any business talk about their biggest challenges, you could almost always tag it back to those 3 things. And it just it blows my mind how often we hire our buddies and we don't get rid of them when they're just a drain and they're not growing with the company, And so be careful who you hire, be smart with who you hire, outsource things that, part of my logo, you'll see it on the website it's designed to demonstrate the fact that almost every business needs to keep certain processes internal. But there's so much you can keep outside of your internal structure. And so my logo kind of iterates that in that there's some things you have to keep in-house, and that's okay. You shouldn't need to feel like you need to outsource anything, but there are some things it's just smart. Your bookkeeping, for example. I mean, until you have a massive organization, outsource your bookkeeping. That's not something I do, but that's something, right. I mean, I outsource my bookkeeping because I don't want to do it, and take a real careful evaluation of your processes that you do every day. Is this something I should be doing? Is it generating revenue? That's question number 1. Second thing is, could somebody else do this if I just outlined exactly what I'm doing to get this done? More often than not, heck yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, you put that process in place, just about anybody can do it.
A monkey could do it.
We're getting to that time limit here. We're gonna let Todd do his little quick shameless plug. I know you snuck in some stuff already, but go ahead and cover that down, and then I'll let Tisha take it away.
I love shamelessly plugging. Listen, for those of you, put the offer on the scroll now. We literally with Moku.com, we have products that are niche specific, and so for most of you on LinkedIn, for example, or Facebook, a lot of us are trying to build our personal brands. A lot of us are trying to build our company brands. And how do you do that? You do it through regular content posting. You do it through good communication with potential clients. You do it through just regularly showing up places. How do you regularly show up without a team helping you do that? Like, it's hard. It is a lot of stress. And so we have design packages to do that. If you want to build a podcast, we literally have a full launch package where it's a fixed price. It's not just like some magical vapor number that I'm going to throw out at you. We have a defined process of how we build your podcast and launch it. And then, in addition to that, like launch a course. Everyone wants to build a course right now, right? We build the entire course and walk you through the process of how you build your course. It's amazing. Like I said earlier, 4 hours, I was done with a full course that I can go and resell with awesome value and awesome content. Too many people overthink this stuff. They overcomplicate it. We have the tools, we have the people, we have the processes. We literally are here for people in this community to build your brands, to build what you're trying to do, and help you navigate that. Like, we take you on this journey of, I am here now. You want to be there. Here are the steps, the tools, and we'll plug people in to get you there. And it's not free, but it's awesome.
But you have this deal going on where
We
you
have a
sign
deal.
up, right?
We have
So
a deal
tell us
for
about
people
it.
who have never had a VA before or a dedicated assistant. We invite you. We will throw in an extra 5 hours of free virtual team time. Like, if you sign up for our lowest package of 25 hours, like, just try it out. See if this actually helps you. And if it does, then commit. You know, I had a friend do a 25-hour purchase on me about a month ago. And he's like, I doubt I'll even use them. I doubt I'll really even get much done. He threw one project in the hopper, and literally 25 hours was done in one night. And he woke up in the morning and the whole project was done. He was like, what the? Are you serious? And I said, that's team power, baby. Team power.
Team power.
It was amazing. He was freaking out. So what did he do? He bought another pack. So it was like beautiful thing. But we literally are here for people to try it out. We want to give you the best type of service possible in working with virtual teams. All of our people are vetted. All of our people are tested. And we even do screen recordings, so we make sure they're actually doing what they said they were doing for you. So we manage it. It's a managed service. It's not just some hokey thing on Fiverr.
There you go.
Plug.
There you go. All right. There you go. Shameless plug. Shameless plug. All right, Todd.
Boom.
Love it. Okay. So again, if you sign up for 25-hour monthly block, you get 5 hours, additional 5
Extra.
hours, because you were tuning into this live stream. And you can get that too through the replay. We'll post this. Todd, you had so many good nuggets that you shared today on just, getting out of your own way, having the people, processes, and tools to help you build your business. And so, yeah, I have my work cut out for me, because now I need to figure out which is the good one, which is the really good one that really, or I can just have your VA do it.
Just come talk to me. Come talk to me. We'll take good care of you.
I know. I'm like, I gotta get on the phone call with Todd. All right. Well, thank you so much for everyone tuning in off of Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And thanks for those comments. And if you're catching the replay, please leave us a comment, ask a question. Todd, Nate, and myself will go back through and respond as well. And
VA.
Or his VA. Or his
I actually do all my own commenting. Thank you.
I do too. Honestly, I'm just gonna say, not something I can delegate. I want it to come from me.
No, I can't outsource that, but I can do some functions on LinkedIn. But commenting is got to be you. It's got to be authentic.
Commenting has to be you. There's a good takeaway. Well, thank you so much, guys. Nate, Todd, always a pleasure. I think we nailed round 2. What do you think, Todd?
I think so. I think it was
I
good.
know we have kind of pixelated, but
you're unpixelated. It sounds fantastic.
Yes, I know. The first one was a little bit of a dud, but Nate carried the show. So thank you, Nate, of course. And yeah, we're back next Friday on Casual Convo Friday again at 10:30 a.m. Mountain, 12:30 Eastern. And we'll see you then. Thanks so much, Todd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, Nate.
See you guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.